Hello. Welcome back to another most beautiful chapter of The Stars Above. It's a beautiful day. Yesterday, I talked about how I was starting to take little respites away from chapters as we progress here into the end. And after I had myself a nice licorice dinner, I went on a brisk journey into the abyssal black of the desert night. It was quite wonderful. Did some aimless walking to commune with the lake mother and the stars above. And it was quite beautiful. Really enjoyed myself. And I started asking myself, am I going to be sad as these chapters conclude? I don't wish to be. I've really enjoyed myself here, and I've enjoyed the time that I've gotten to have with you as you tune in to this story. I do not want it to wrap up, So I thought I really don't wish to be sad. So, I raised my cane to the great sky, and I said, "Bestow upon thee thy strength, for I shan't be sad." I said, "Bestow upon thee thy strength, so I shan't be sad." Bestow upon thee thy strength, so I shan't be sad. That was my little conjuring. And I'm not sure if the stars misinterpreted my request. I'm not sure if I conjured the right spell, or maybe summoned an incorrect spirit. But what happened was the wind came, so strong. I asked for strength. Bestow upon thee thy strength. Bestow upon thee thy strength, so I shan't be sad. That's what I requested. But what happened was the wind came, and the wind was so strong, and I said, this was not what I requested, but you don't always get what you want. You get what you need. But sometimes what you need is misinterpreted, because you said, this is not what I need either. This is not what I wanted. This is not what I needed. But it's what I got. I requested strength, and I got strong gusts. The wind got so rowdy. It got so rowdy that I did not know what to do with myself. I was so far, somewhere out there, and I was having such a hard time just getting back, because I was getting blown away. I was literally getting blown away, not metaphorically, like, wow, I'm so blown away. No, literally, I was getting blown towards another state, practically, and that's not what I needed. I needed to find my way back to camp, which was that way. I was being blown that way, so I'm not sure what I conjured up, but it wasn't what I wanted, and I did not think it was what I needed, but I got it, and then I woke up this morning, and the wind was still rowdy. It was still being a rowdy, rambunctious little bitch. And I was annoyed. At that point, I was annoyed. And I said, you know what? I've dealt with the wind the entire time. But now I can't even make my coffee because the wind is being so rowdy that it's the flame is like that. It's not going up. The flame is not going up into my coffee pot, hot boiler, water boiling pot. It's not going up. The flame is going that way, where it wanted me to go last night. You know, and I did not want the flame to go that way. I wanted it to go up so that it could make my coffee. And I was so annoyed. And I said, why am I so resistant right now? You know, I'm resisting. Shout out opposite sponsor, fuck you, resistance. Do not resist. When we resist, that is when we run into the most trouble. I think that is where the saying, go with the flow, came from. I think that somebody was out at their local desert. They did a summoning of strength. They got the wind instead. They did not mean it. They did not mean to get the wind, but that is what they got. The next morning they woke up, they tried to make coffee. The flame was not going up. It went that way. The flame went that way. That's not where they wanted it to go. He resisted. He turned to the wind. He realized he could not go forward. And he said, why am I resisting? I must go with the flow. And that's where the saying came from. Go with the flow. So I went with the flow, you know, I stopped resisting, and the wind carried me. I followed it. You know, that's also where the saying comes from, where it's like, may the wind be ever in your sails. You know, may the wind be ever in your sails. But the problem is, A, one, I don't have a boat. And B, the wind was not in my sails, it was against my face. If I had a boat, it would be going the wrong way because I was trying to go that way. So the wind be ever in your sails did not apply, but then I realized, I remembered back to Icarus's chapter where he and Celine went to the casino, and he said something along the lines of perspective is just perception. I don't know exactly what he said. That was many, many days, weeks ago, you know, but it was something about tricking one's perception, you know, by shifting your perspective. He was going backwards on the escalator while it was going up or down. Either way, neither here nor there. Point being, the wind was not in my sails because I was facing that way. If I had a boat, all I would have to do is turn around. And then all of a sudden, may the wind be ever in your sails. Now it applies. That's all I had to do. All I had to do was shift my perception. And all of a sudden, wind's in my sails. So I allowed the wind to carry me to this canyon. I found this little canyon. A canyon is where there's a lower area of the desert, and then there are slight walls to each side of you. That is, I believe, the definition of a canyon. So yeah, I found this canyon, and it turns out it's kind of sort of blocking the wind so that I can now work again. I was not able to work. This morning I said, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to work because there's so much wind, it's not in my sails. I'm trying to go that way, it wants me to go that way. Everything was against me. But I shifted my perception. I followed it to this canyon. I believe it still wants me to venture that way. Maybe next time I will go further that way. That's towards the willows. Beautiful, magical fairy willows zone. Perhaps later I'll go that way. Anyway, I shifted my perception. That brings us to today's sponsor, Happy Little Detours. We touched on this briefly yesterday. A happy little detour is when life has you by the nuts. Nothing's going right. And you decide to take a happy little detour. But the tricky thing about happy little detours is they're not always presented in palatable ways. You know, you can very easily be walking through a grove of thickets and thorns. That's all there is, thickets and thorns. And there's a beautiful patch of rose bushes over here. So you're walking and you look at the beautiful patch of rose bushes, and several things can now play out. You would say either one, that's a mirage. That can't be real. That's a mirage, because everything in life sucks. So I know that that's a trick and I don't trust it. That's one thing that can play out. Two, I had it in my brain. My brain's a little slow today because I was so frustrated with the wind. Oh yeah, two. Okay, so you're walking through the thorns and thickets, you see the rose bush, and you think it's too good to be true. You know, it's too good to be true. You're full of doubtfulness. You know, it's too good to be true. It's not quite a mirage, because you don't not necessarily believe that it's not real. It's just too good to be true because of your circumstances. You're so down in the dumps. It's too good to be true, you know? Or here is number three. Number three is what is most likely to occur. You are so stuck in your self-loathing. You are literally relishing in the woefulness of your wallow, you know? It's despicable where you have found yourself. You have grown so accustomed to the thorns and the thickets that when you see that beautiful little rose area, that beautiful patch of roses, the rose bushes, they're so vibrant, they're so lively, they're so wonderful, they probably smell fantastic. But here's the issue. You are so used to treading in the shallows of your own self-fucking loathing that when you see that rose bush, you don't even recognize it. You don't even recognize it because you are only seeing through the filter of your own bullshit. You're walking, yeah, I fucking hate everything. My life sucks. I wish there was a happy detour. I wish there was a happy little detour to present themselves, you know? And you walk right past the happy little detour because you are only seeing life through the filter of your own bullshit. You walk right past it, right past that happy little detour. You don't even recognize it. That happy little, that rosebud flowers that is so red, so beautiful, so green, so lush, smells so wonderful. Guess what color it is? It's gray. It's gray. It's as gray as the thorns and the thickets that you are walking through right now. It is gray. It is the all-encompassing gray. You can't even see color. Color has faded to black because you are only seeing the world through the filter of your own bullshit. You don't even notice the goddamn happy little detour. And it's so hard because that's the biggest challenge. You know, even while you are crawling through the pits, trudging through the muck, there are happy little detours, but they are not presented in palatable ways. You have to just learn to see with your heart. You know, your filter, your eyes are all fucked up. The sun's blinding you. You're down and out. You're down, you're bad. You're looking up at the sun. Everything's wrong. All the other sponsors are just blending into each other. All the reverse fuck you sponsors are literally coalescing into elemental chaos. And you cannot see anything, so you must look with your heart. You must feel it. You must, out of the corner of your eye, you just see the faintest little shimmer of red. And you say to yourself, I think that might be a rose bush. I think that might be a rose bush. Although everything before me is gray, I see the faintest little shine of red. And I believe in my heart of hearts that might just be a rose bush. So you know what? I'm not gonna keep charging into the wind. I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna let it turn my sails. The sails are now at my back. Oh my God, that fucking rose bush is so beautiful and red and not gray. You know? Anyway, that's today's sponsor. Happy Little Detours. I think I got a little carried away, but I'm just so passionate about beautiful rose bushes. You know, they're there. They're there, you just have to see them. And if you can't see them with your eyes, see them with your heart. You know? And next time you're out at your local desert and you do a spell, you know, what be it, what have you, you know? Bestow upon thee thy strength, for I shan't be sad. If you don't get what you want, you're probably still getting what you need. Even if it's very strong winds, they're trying to fuck with you. Understand that the world's trying to send you a message. And how you interpret it, how you perceive it, entirely up to your perception. But you can change it. You can change how you see it. It may seem so bad, but I promise you that strong gust of wind is trying to blow you right into the goddamn fucking beautiful rose bush. Even though all you see is gray. I'm not going to continue. Let's cut me off, okay? Today's sponsor, shout out. What was it? Happy Little Detours. Reverse sponsor, fuck you sponsor, Resistance. Go for the Happy Little Detours, do not resist. Thank you. I'm gonna read now. Oh my goodness gracious, Pete's almighty. Wow, would you look at that? What a serendipitous thing. Today's chapter 30, is called Blooming Rosebud. Can you fucking believe it? Can you fucking believe it? After all that, after last night, after everything that happened, after searching so hard for the rose bush, it's absolutely unreal. Today's chapter 30, Blooming Rosebud. Unbelievable. Happy Little Detours. Happy Little Detours. I just got to take a minute. It's remarkable. Okay. Chapter 30, Blooming Rosebud. I adored working at Daughter's Cafe, a little cottage on the Truckee River whose owner, Barb, lived just above the restaurant. She was of white-collar education, blue-collar attitude, and had the best home cooking this side the Mississippi. A gal sweet as pie, so long as condiments weren't requested. Hell hath no fury, like a grandmother scorned over her perfect-as-is recipes. Business slowed in January when the snow began to fall, leaving Barb and myself alone. We'd become like family and spent mornings cozied up in the dining room with fresh banana bread. Our conversations became a scratched record as Barb sought to be a voice of reason, sympathetic yet stern in her attempts to motivate. "What you need is an education," she'd say. "Let's enroll you in the junior college. Hell, I'll go with you." "Would you prepare me a sack lunch each day?" I'd ask, "and walk me to class?" "No, goddammit! I'll attend too." That's not what it says. It does not say goddammit, it says dadgummit. She's You got blue collar attitude. It says dadgummit. I don't know why I said that. No dadgummit. I'll attend too. Let's take a poetry course. Blake, Poe, Seuss of the sort. Sad, sad poetry. How about political science? We need less corruption in government. Look at me. There isn't a chance in hell I'd ever be trusted in a position of power. Not with that attitude. Barb's nurturing brought comfort as she kept sights on moving forward, not back. My granddaughter, Sasha, isn't well, she'd say one day. I'm going to move her here. Here? I asked. Where does she live? What's happening with her? Out in California. Her parents and sister are there. She feels out of place, doesn't have any friends, and is doing poorly in school. She's only 12 and already suffering depression and suicidal thoughts. Needs a change of scenery. Some time with me will be good for her. I'll never forget the day Sasha walked in as a shy and nervous little creature, but that demeanor was quick to shift after trotting up to her with a hand held high for a thunderous low five, yelling, "What's up, dog?" She may have been trapped within a shell, but, when shown acceptance, eased her way out. Children need a sense of connection and trust in the guidance of those around them, and everything from her taste in music, aspirations for art, to twisted sense of humor made it all so elementary. It's easy to tell of a child's wonder. Their eyes carry an ambitious flair, and a sly grin of peculiar understanding rests smug upon their face. The only ingredient Sasha lacked was confidence in herself and resilience in the face of adversity. I didn't see Sasha much during the week, but on days she'd get out of school early, I took my sweet time closing, if only to hear about her day, the new friends she'd made, bands being listened to, or books being read. On weekends, she was my sidekick in the kitchen, and after work, we'd all sit together as a family to eat. Sasha loved stories, so I'd share those of my hero. It's curious. I know a girl just like you, I'd say. A little bird cramped within a shell far too small for her great big wings. But that small shell couldn't contain a spirit wishing to soar. So she took to the sky, having chosen to fly, just as you will. I'd share my adventures with Celine, embellished in the fantastical ways I'd felt them to be, like the wanderlust of traveling carnies, the perils of rodeo clowns facing majestic beasts in a ring of fire, or of monster hunts amongst the common folk of unsuspecting casinos, where we'd stand a fight from the shadows for those most deserving of life and prosperity. Celine was always depicted in relatable ways, to fuel Sasha's belief in her own will to fly. I wasn't always brave either, I'd tell her. I was trapped in a shell too, hurt and afraid. But when I saw that little bird take to the heavens, I knew I could too. She taught me to be strong and courageous, how to spread my wings, and give my love with purpose to the wind. Where is she now? Sasha would ask with beaming curiosity. She's out there soaring, believing, and learning, creating her world while painting it just as beautiful as she. I want to be just like her, she'd cheer. When powder was fresh, I'd stay late and wait for Sasha with a snowball in hand. We'd run around outside, dodging ice grenades as if storming the beaches of Normandy. Barb could be heard from 2 blocks over, screaming at the top of her lungs. Would you two numbskulls knock it off? You're tracking water through the whole damn house. God forbid I slip and break my hip. Every Tuesday, we'd meet Barb's friends for dinner. Sasha and I kept to the kids' table, blowing bubbles in our soda while coloring outside the lines of dinner placemats. Damn, dog, I'd say. You could submit that piece to the Louvre, cash in for some serious change. Always keep outside the lines. You got talent, kid. Don't ever let no scumbucket tell you otherwise. If we kept within the lines, she'd reply, they'd keep us down. The world is yours. Craft it abstract, little one, and remain forever odd. I don't believe there's anything more important in preserving the future of humanity than keeping a child, while there's still one left to be. To water their imagination, fuel their belief in magic, broaden their expanse on the limitlessness of creation, and assure them that the improbable is conquerable. All great man-made wonders of this world were once far-fetched fantasies dreamt into reality. It's a crime to grow too fast while feeling an innocence is lost which we hadn't known could never be taken from us. Understanding children begins with understanding the child in ourselves, the one who becomes bastardized out of neglect. Most self-conflict stems from the negativity we express internally. We say things like, I'm not good enough, I've never been good enough, I'm not loved, I'll never be loved, I've failed, I'll always fail. But we'd never dare say those things to a child, so why do we insist on saying them to ourselves? When we plant a rose which fails to bloom, we don't lay blame upon the rose. We know it wasn't the rose's fault. Perhaps we hadn't watered it enough or exposed it to enough light. As with love, we give it our understanding and learn from past mistakes. With know-how and good care, the rose will grow well and bloom beautifully. This process is just as applicable to adults as it is to children. We must tend to ourselves in the same way we tend to the garden. We all have that flower and child within us, and we must nurture them. For when a bud blooms, the entire world is found whole. To see someone as precious, loving, and caring as Sasha be overtaken by depression, anxiety, and hopelessness, to see through eyes which once spoke of beauty and wonder, give way to the overwhelming gray, gave me all the purpose in the world, just as Celine had. It left me knowing with certainty that the difference I bring to my existence and those around me will have come at the hand carrying the balloon, opposite the flower. The distance between Celine and I was growing further. We hadn't seen each other in over a month when that pinky promise was made. It was now the first week of April, and her birthday was just days away. I felt with that final farewell looming around the corner, the gift I'd make may act as a swan song. It had to be perfect, a symbol of what our journey had represented. Every flower I'd gotten for Celine's mother was saved, and those she hadn't taken had now hung from the wall or blanketed my desk. They'd each dry to hold their shape, beauty, and color, withered, yet as radiant in death as they were in life. I got a shadow box frame, and after layering the back in spring leaves, I pinned a rosebud to each corner, then lined the edges with petals of multicolored daisies and carnations. In the center rests a large sunflower which shined evermore, and behind the frame a note was written. Celine Hawk, this is made from all the flowers I've gotten for your mother. They're as beautiful today as there'll ever be, and on the morrow, they'll be as beautiful as they ever were. I know that as these special days come and go for you, that they'll never feel the same without her. But know that she is always with you, that she is always proud of you, and that she will always love you, her daughter. And while it may not ever be the same, I promise to always do my very best to get this day, and all days, right for the both of you. I also had a framed black and white portrait of Thea in her youth, dressed like a whimsical fawn above a bed of flowers, looking just like Celine's mother, Kimmy Lee. With the portrait, a black rose floating in a glass globe, its delicate petals resting beautifully for eternity. Finally, her birthday card, the last left of my mother's art. I'd saved that specific one until now, for it depicted Celine the happiest, purest, strangest, and freest of all. Whether felt as a final goodbye or not, that card spoke words most true to my heart. My dearest bird, goodness gracious, look at how far you've come. There are no words for me to express just how proud I am of you, the depths of which you've crawled from, and the endless obstacles you've championed. Celine, you're so unbelievably strong, and so incredibly perseverant. There is nothing you cannot do. I want you to know that I understand and appreciate your journey more than anything, and while there's been distance between us, I've never felt without you. To be quite honest, I've never felt closer than I do to you now. With distance comes understanding and remembrance of who we are. I know that we could be lifetimes and worlds apart, but that to us, time and space mean nothing. I don't have to see you to know that I'm always with you, and you always with me. While there hasn't been a single moment to pass in these months where I've not wished to tell you how much you're missed, or remind you how much you're cared for, I know those things aren't needed to be said. I've told you before that there will never be words for me to thank your mother for all she's done, but that I would always do my very best to find them. However, I know now that those words will never be needed, having felt them for herself in each blooming flower, flickering candle, or soft-spoken thanks into the night sky. I know that bringing up your mother while leading you to revisit certain feelings has upset you, but I think we both realize by now that we weren't brought to find each other to make things easier. It's in the chaos we've stirred within that has given way for our own deep healings to take place. I say this now because I understand to no longer feel guilty towards the way I feel, nor the things expressed, so that you know I'm always here for you. I now understand that the only way I'm able to love you this deeply, this endlessly, and this unconditionally is because of the depth of that very same love I have for myself and my own journey. So, Fly high, bird, and I will be here, where I've always been, within your heart, should you choose to find me there. I love you, Celine Hawk. I have always loved you, and I will always love you. I'd text her at midnight on the dot. On this day, I said, Kimmy Lee brought you into this world to change it forever, just as you have mine. I can only imagine how proud she must be and the love she must feel while looking over you now. I was elated to see her sprint up the stairs that next day in excitement for her presence. Whether or not Kimmy's flowers represented a painful reminder for Celine, once taking that frame within her hands, she shined just as bright as they always had. Albeit fleeting, it'd only taken a precious moment for part of Celine to understand why I'd done it and what it all meant. I love it, Icarus, she said gently. I hoped so, I said. You're so very welcome. I'm a little hesitant on reading this card in front of you, considering what could be written, she chuckled. Do you mind if I wait to open it until later? I'd prefer it that way too, I smiled. Celine had a special night of celebration ahead, having parted soon after. Do you think I can leave these gifts here for now? She asked. They're so fragile. I don't want them to break in my car. Absolutely, I said. They'll be here waiting for you, whenever you're ready. A part of me wondered if she felt that goodbye coming as well, having wished the gifts to stay with me until being truly ready to receive them, or so I'd like to think. Alongside many of our treasures, they've remained buried in a safe place ever since, upon the humbling shores of Pyramid Lake. Perhaps one day she'll find them there, whether in this life or one hereafter. There's a fly. Irk, your letter is overwhelming, she'd text the following day. You know I've never been one to be underwhelming, I replied. But it's been a long time since we've spoken openly or seen each other, and that's okay. I told you that once Thea left, if distance came between us, I'd understand. But no matter how great the distance, please know that there's still someone always here for you. It doesn't have to mean anything more. Will you do me a favor then? Because this is an extremely frustrating thing to talk to you about. Will you please leave my mom out of it? It's really unpleasant to hear you talk like you met or knew her. That was my mom. If you wish to celebrate your mom's life in passing, that's fine. But I don't need a monthly ritual of flowers. I know your intentions are well, but please leave the most personal thing about me to myself and no one else. Please. I only do this so that you don't disconnect from the thought of not having her, so that someone in your life will keep the understanding alive that you're never without her. I know what it feels like to be left alone, not only in their passing, but when we held them. I may have never met your mom, but that doesn't mean she doesn't still play a role in your life or in who you stand as today, and that is something I will always hold dear to my heart. I'll stop bringing it up, but I will never stop being the one who can see you heal through it. I'll always believe in you, Bird. I know I'm overwhelming, but I'd rather be that and see you than not at all. I'm also extremely anxious and tired right now, so just put it in your pocket for another time. I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't even mean any of that. I'm just so out of it. You'll never need to apologize to me for anything, ever. I understand, and always have. I know it's tough right now, and I certainly haven't made things any easier on you. Sometimes doing it the hard way is the only way, beak to beak, mano a mano. Just know that you have someone here who understands. Keep that chin up. You've always got this, Bird. I knew what pushing Celine to revisit the pain of her mother's absence would do to her. And while my actions were invasive, selflessness and selfishness are two sides of the same coin. I also knew that with time dwindling and a promise to keep, that it must be done. Does it make me an asshole? Perhaps. Surely there's an entire Rolodex worth of trendy buzzwords and psychological jargon of which to label me with. I know good goddamn well by simply telling this story may cause an angry mob of sensitive, torch-bearing witch hunters who don't know their ass from their elbow to come for my head. But that don't change my being a gambling man who knows love makes fools of us all. And if one isn't willing to roll the dice, risk it all, go for broke, lose everything in the process, and be burned at the fucking stake, well, then that sure as shit ain't love. I remain deeply remorseful for many things which hurt Celine. However, pushing her to discover the boundless love within herself will never have been one of them. After a few weeks of radio silence between us, Celine would text, Hey, she said, I just want to let you know that within the next couple days I'll be giving back your letters and trinkets. I've wanted to do this for a while now, and I figured giving them back would be better than burning it all, since a lot of those letters have your mother's art. I need my energy cleared, and yours has been taking up too much space. It's too much, and always has been. In return, I'm taking Juju back. I'm sorry if this hurts your feelings. I'm starting a new chapter in my life, and that means another must close. It's okay, Bird, I replied. I am and will always be proud of the steps you make along your path. Sometimes loving someone is enough, even if they're not in your life, because simply loving them was always enough. And loving you, Celine Hawk, to have found and had you in my life, if only for a moment, will have always been so much more than enough. I'll be here when you're ready to drop them off, and then I'll continue being here, always right here. That day wouldn't arrive for her as planned. I wouldn't see Celine again for another 4 months after her birthday. It was a position she'd found herself in many times before, having wished to erase my presence from ever existing in her world. Much like me, Celine was always at war with herself. Who she was or wasn't, how she felt, the pain she fled, what she wanted or what she didn't, avoiding an honesty within at all costs. Perhaps a part of her still fought the urge to erase me, or still believed in who we were to each other. Either way, I'd continue to respect her space while remaining silent, growing stronger, and sending my love from afar. In early May, I'd receive an invitation to Sasha. In early May, I'd receive an invitation to Sasha's 6th grade graduation. I was ecstatic, having gathered a battalion of balloons alongside a stunning bouquet of purple tulips and pink daisies. Barb, being an over-the-top gal as well, re-raised with 5 bouquets of exotic species. Between us, Sasha was the most showered prize upon that podium. I'd also written her a card. Dearest Sasha, so very many times in life I've arrived at certain places in search of purpose, to find salvation in those I can help, and a reconciliation with myself through them. I cannot easily express all of which you've done for me, but I know it was with that purpose of heart in mind. Every high five, snowball fight, and soft-spoken word you've shared has helped open my heart all the more. You now march with your head held high into some of the hardest years of your life. I've nothing but confidence in you, seeing only greatness in your path of self-discovery. Don't ever seek validation in others, for all of which you'll ever long for, question, or come to understand already lies within you. So, become the light others seek in the dark. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, my sister, best friend, and beacon of hope. Fucking love you, dog! Heaps of families gathered in the gymnasium to welcome the graduating class. After introduction, each student was to give a speech in thanks for a single person of inspiration who encouraged them through this vital point in their growth. There were dozens of graduates, and the faculty requested that we wait for celebratory congratulations until after the final speech was made. The second this was asked, Barb looked at me in the most mischievous way. Her face said it all, but there was no holding me back. Each student would descend from the bleachers, speech in one hand and Rosebud in the other. Within a sea of blue flashcards, no two were different. I'd like to thank my dad for blah, blah, blah. I'd like to thank my mom for yada, yada, yada. Every child is an inspiration, but my foot wasn't tapping away like a coked-up jackrabbit for just any old kid. Finally, Sasha's name was called to the podium. She'd lock eyes with mine, and out crept that clever smile, having known I was up to something plenty good. With her chin to the goddamn ceiling, Sasha radiated confidence louder than the captain's sequin jacket I'd given her to stand out. There was a spring in her step being inconceivable to the ordinary and mundane, causing trembles as goosebumps covered my every inch, so large and irregular they'd be mistaken for bubonic plague. That shy little creature's withheld bud had truly bloomed. Before she'd make it to the podium, I jumped up and ran to her like the day we met, my hand held high for that thunderous low five. You did it, dog, I yelled, loud enough to burst the eardrums of every parent unknowing that this graduation, for me, was comparable to Harvard Med. Sasha burst out laughing without an iota of embarrassment. She'd reach behind my ear and pluck her rose to present it to me like a magician. Every adoring second spent with her, having been wrapped within its never-ending petals. I sat back down with my flower, my world, my everything in the palm of my hand. Once taking to the podium, Sasha looked solely to me and spoke aloud with conviction. Icarus, although it may not be apparent, you really cheer up my days. I know that you are going through a hard time, and I am so proud of you for making it through. Stay gold, dog. That little girl who'd been fighting tooth and nail through her own hard times, who I was so much more than proud of, didn't stand in front of an audience to give appreciation for the support she'd received in making it to that point. No. She stood to take into consideration the hardship of another, while letting that man know how proud she was of him, selflessly. I don't know what winning awards feels like, but I know what it takes to stand and what it takes to fight. And in that moment, Sasha may as well have pinned the Congressional Medal of Honor upon my chest. After giving the greatest performance a man could bear witness to, Sasha placed her speech in a stack with all the others. And for the remaining half hour, I never broke sight with those cards. The ceremony wrapped up, and I approached the teacher. "Hey there," I said. "I'm going to need Sasha's card. Thanks." Apparently, a 6th grade graduation speech wasn't as important for anyone else to retrieve. But to me, that card was a declaration of the highest prestige and badge of nobility for a soldier on the front lines of humility. No different from the flower. It was a symbol I'd both live and die for, a treasured memento in remembrance of a life lived righteously. The teacher handed it over and shook my hand, letting me know, "Sasha is incredibly lucky to have you." A wonderful sentiment, but I was the one blessed with such luck. There's no greater responsibility for the heroes of today than to make way and guide those of the morrow. In acting to preserve the life of a child by retaining the innocence of such undeniable wonder, that child would act to save the life of my own. Just as Celine continues being to this very day, Sasha became my hero and did so by being exactly who she always was. Even in times we're hurting, where all is dark and hope is lost, the show must go on. Each day we wake, we rise to the responsibility of stepping onto that stage and into the spotlight, to own one's role with the entirety of our soul and all the love in our heart. We must put forth every tear, smile, and laugh, each moment of happiness and those of despair, all that is beautiful and all which is terrifying, no matter the cost. So, when you wake to step onto that stage and into the spotlight, be sure to put on your greatest performance yet, for no matter who you touch, you may just change their lives forever. My world is a circus, so I vow to wake each day the clown. That's how I keep my wits about me. How you keep yours, well, that's entirely up to you. Bestow upon thee thy strengths, for I shan't be sad. Bestow upon thee thy strength, for I shan't be sad. That's all you got to do, you know? Go out to your local desert, cast a spell. Who knows what you're conjuring up? God knows I didn't. Get the opposite of what you expect. Resist, resist, resist. Shift your perception. Go with the flow. Wind is in your sails. Traverse through the thorns and thickets. Notice the beautiful rose bushes. And embrace the happy little detour. Jesus fucking Christ, that's today's sponsor. Embrace the happy little detour. It's not always presented in palatable ways, but believe you fucking me, it is there. You just have to look. 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 But you're not really looking, you're seeing. You're seeing. And if you're seeing, you're feeling. You're feeling. The happy little detour is there. Believe you me, I fucking promise you that. I know it is hard. Life sucks. It is a fucking bitch and a half. 95% of the time, but I fucking swear to God, the happy little detour is there. Take it. Take it. And almost always, that thorn and thicket shit that you're walking through, where you're trying so hard to get to the end because there's like a mission or something on your brain, that happy little detour, 99% of the time, will wind back up on that path. And then you'll see that happy little detour, you needed to learn something. You needed to learn something. So you had to take that happy little detour in order to find yourself back in the thorns and thickets. And then you realize, oh my fucking God, the thorns and thickets were actually rose bushes the whole time. They were just out of season. They hadn't bloomed yet. And now that I've taken the happy little detour and realized what I needed to realize, I am back in the thorns and thickets. And oh my fucking God, the rose bushes are in season. Everything is beautiful. Life is okay. I shouldn't have fucking resisted. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. That was a pretty magical little happy detour chapter. Next one. Next one, you'll see. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Hasta luego.